Okay, good afternoon, all of you. So, today's topic is geometric design. Okay, this is the new chapter. This is a very important chapter of actually in transportation engineering, and you will get the maximum questions from this chapter. So, first in geometric design, what is geometric design? Actually, geometric design is the from if we uh, see in book the definition whatever written in the book, that is the geometric design of a highway with the dimensions and layout of visible features of the highway such as alignment, side distance and intersections. And for for you these side distance intersections, these are things, these terms are new to you, and going through the our study you will automatically get understand what is side distance, what is intersections. Already you have idea about alignment because alignment has already discussed, and just we have completed alignment chapters. So alignment is known to you what is alignment, but the other terms which will come during the study like side distance, intersections, this will new to you and you will get easily understand when we will go in deep in the geometric design sections, and various parameters will be discussed during this under this chapter geometric design. So the geometrics of highway should be designed to provide optimum efficiency in traffic operations with maximum safety and reasonable cost. The designer may be exposed to either planning of new highway network or improvement of existing highways to meet the requirements of the existing and anticipated traffic. So the geometry of a highway should be designed to provide optimum efficiency in traffic operation. Traffic means the movement of the vehicles and movement of the our people. Movement of the human being, movement of the people, this term is in highway engineering can be defined by pedestrian. Okay, when any human being or any people or whatever people are move, moved moved in the highway or on the road surface, it is termed as pedestrian. So the geometries of highway should be designed to provide optimum efficiency in traffic operations with maximum safety at reasonable cost. The designer may be exposed to either planning of new highway network or improvement of existing highways to meet the requirements of the existing and anticipated traffic. It is possible to design and construct the pavement of a road in stages, but it is very expensive and rather difficult to improve the geometric elements of a road in stages at a later date. Therefore, it is important to plan and design the geometric features of the road during the initial alignment itself, taking into consideration the future growth of traffic flow and possibility of the road being upgraded to a higher category, to a higher design speed standard at a later stage. So lots of things, lots of elements are involved in geometric design. Suppose as per syllabus you can see the cross sectional elements of highway. Like cross sectional elements of highway, there are lots of things like side distance considerations, horizontal alignment details, vertical alignment details, intersection elements. So these are the actually some elements which are involved in geometric design, cross sectional elements, side distance considerations, horizontal alignment details, vertical alignment details, intersection elements. Actually, we engineers are dealt with these elements, cross section elements, side distance considerations. So now basically from the beginning we should study the simple things. We should start from the simple things like cross sectional elements of highway. Suppose as per syllabus also, this is the first part under geometric design, cross sectional elements of highway. Okay, so when we talk about the cross sectional elements of highway, uh, first, in cross-sectional elements of highway, there are lots of things which are totally technical things. Pavement surface characteristics, cross slope or camber. These are only known to civil engineers. Civil engineers only know these things. And the for a normal people, for the normal public or some other persons besides the engineer, civil engineer, they don't know these things. What is pavement surface characteristics, what is cross slope or camber, width of pavement or carriageway, curves, road margins, width of roadway formation, right of way. These terms only known to our civil engineers. So this is very important to us as an engineer. The cross sectional elements of highway and other elements which will come later, and under cross sectional elements, pavement surface characteristics, cross slope or camber, width of pavement or carriageway, curves, road margins, width of roadway or formation, right of way. Now let's talk about the what are these things, what are these cross sectional elements of highway. Like pavement surface characteristics, one of the part under cross sectional elements of highway. So pavement surface characteristics, uh, as we say the definition, the pavement surface depends on pavement type, which is decided based on the availability of materials and funds, volume and composition of traffic, subgrade and climatic conditions, construction facilities and considerations. So the pavement surface depends on pavement type, which is decided based on the availability of materials and funds, volume and composition of traffic. Volume, that is traffic, the quantity of traffic in the road. Subgrade is the one of the part of your pavement or your road. It is the bottom, uh, top, yeah, latest bottom, sorry, first bottom part of the road, that is subgrade. And climatic conditions, construction facilities and cost considerations, these are the depending depending components of pavement on which our pavement surface can be classified, or pavement surface can be built with considering these things. The important surface characteristics of the pavement are the friction unevenness, light reflecting characteristics and drainage of surface water. Again, the important surface characteristics of the pavement. Hello, any problem? Anyone? Note, you will get note from me, no problem. I will give you note, no problem. This is the what is pavement surface characteristics, what is cross slope. I will give the note, no more. And you can find the in your have you got the book, Utkar? E-book? Also in e-book, the Khanna Jastu book, all the things are mentioned. What is pavement surface characteristics, what is cross slope or camber, width of pavement or carriageway. uh, Now at this stage I am describing the things like very details, but what is the exact gist will come. Just wait, gist will come. What is actual the things. So the important surface characteristics of the pavement are the friction unevenness, light reflecting characteristics, and drainage of surface water. Okay, friction, 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 friction is the important in pavement surface characteristics. Friction actually the friction between vehicle type and pavement surface. Acha, the vehicle type, sorry, vehicle tire and pavement surface. Friction between vehicle tire and pavement surface. Achha, it is one of the factors determining the operating speed and distance requirements in stopping and accelerating the vehicles. So the friction, one of the parameter. How can we control our vehicle, because friction is the friction is happened between the vehicle tire and pavement surface. So these factors determining the operating speed and distance requirement, operating speed as well as the distance requirements in stopping and accelerating the vehicles. Matlab, how we can handle or can operate our vehicle to stop as well as accelerate when we need the stop, when we don't need to go more anymore, we don't need we don't want to go anymore, we need to stop our car or stop our vehicle. And acceleration is when we start to go from one place to another place, or we want to move our vehicle from one place to another place, that is acceleration. Then acceleration phenomena is when we stopping, this is one part. From running position to stop position, this is one of the part. Another position is stop position to running position, this is another part. So at that, in that both cases the friction may happen. So when a vehicle negotiates a horizontal curve, the lateral friction developed counteracts the centrifugal force and thus governs the safe operating speed. Also on curve section, when vehicles are moved on curve section, on the curve of roadway, then also friction can be happen due to lateral. This is called due to lateral. This is called lateral friction, and this is developed due to centrifugal force. Okay, centrifugal force we'll discuss in our super elevation section. What is centrifugal force? Actual centrifugal force, and you also known, it is also known to you from your physics. Physics also it was discussed that what is centrifugal force, what is the overturning situation is happened. This centrifugal force and thus governs the safe operating speed. Achha. Frictional force is an important factor in the acceleration and retardation abilities of vehicles, and the coefficient of friction, it is important to us as an engineer. Friction is actually natural phenomena. Friction is natural phenomena, but how can we control this friction? We can control with coefficient of friction. This is one of the parameter through which we can control this friction. There is two friction coefficient of friction. One is longitudinal, another is lateral. Longitudinal is needed when we start our vehicle from stop position to running position, or maybe running position to stop position. We are going when from running position to stop position. At the both time the longitudinal coefficient may occur, and lateral coefficient is required when lateral friction is happen on the curved section. On the curved section, normally lateral friction is happen. So these two type of longitudinal coefficient of friction and lateral coefficient of friction is needed, are needed to us to control this friction matter. Control this friction. As an engineer, we need these values. How could we change these values or coefficient of friction? Because friction is the natural. It is happen. It is always happen due to many reasons. But how could we control this friction? It is depending on engineer. Longitudinal coefficient of friction is there and lateral coefficient of friction is there. So coefficient of friction or the skid resistance, the coefficient of friction, the another name of coefficient of friction is skid resistance offered by pavement surface under various driving and surface conditions is important with reference to the safety. The maximum coefficient of friction comes into play only when the brake efficiency is high enough to partially arrest the rotation of the wheels on application of brakes at low speeds. So the maximum coefficient of friction comes into play. Maximum coefficient of friction is high when maximum coefficient of friction is high when only when the braking efficiency is high enough to partially arrest the rotation of the wheels on application of brakes at low speed. That means if we apply the brake partially, when we apply the brake and the brake arrest the rotation of the wheels on and the speed of the vehicle also should be low. Okay, so when the speed of the vehicle is low and we apply the full brake, and application of the full brake of the vehicle, the brake will arrest the speed of vehicle or the rotation of the vehicle partially. At that time the coefficient of friction is maximum. Coefficient of friction or skid resistance, coefficient of friction or skid resistance is maximum at that time. So normally in our case we need to maintain the coefficient of friction. Some values are there for our design purpose, for civil engineers. Some values are given by IRC, Indian Road Congress. How could we maintain this coefficient of friction by providing various things or during calculation, because this is one of the first part in our numerical calculation. Suppose RCC we have lots of things for consideration, but in geometric design when we perform any numerical solving any numerical question, this is the first parameter, coefficient of friction, which should we consider or which we should maintain during the our calculation. So friction is natural thing. Friction can be happened in longitudinal direction and maybe in lateral direction. When vehicle moves on lateral direction. So in longitudinal direction the coefficient of friction should be 0.35 to 0.4. This value is important, you should note. And in lateral coefficient of friction should be 0.15. okay, these values are needed during calculation or in numerical problems. Solving numerical problems, these values are needed to us. 0.35 to 0.4 for longitudinal coefficient of friction, and 0.15 is for lateral coefficient of friction. This is the friction. Actually, friction is the normal thing which is happened due to vehicle tire, which is happened between vehicle tire and road surface. This is normal thing, friction. After friction, there are some things like skid. This term always we are used for the bike riders. Skidding factor. Skid. What is skid? And another thing is there, that is slip. Skid and slip. Friction. Okay, friction is, I think friction is clear to you. Now skid and slip. What is skid? Skid occurs when the slide without revolving or when the wheels partially revolve. That is, when the path traveled along the road surface is more than the circumferential movement of the wheels due to their rotation. Therefore, skid is your tire is completely locked. Okay, your wheel is completely locked or partially locked, suppose, but somehow during lock of your locking of your wheel or tire, you are traveling. Your wheel is not moving, but you are traveling. This kind of situation. So skid occurs when the slide without revolving or when the wheels partially revolve, when the path travelled along the road surface is more than the circumferential movement of the wheels due to their rotation. Without rotation you are moving because your wheel is completely locked. That kind of situation is called skid. That is, your road is slippery due to rainy season or muddy. That kind of situation, you are applied low brake, but your wheel is completely locked, but you are going without revolving your wheel. That kind of situation or phenomena is called skid. When the brakes are applied, the wheels are locked partially and or fully. If the vehicle moves forward, the longitudinal skidding takes place, which may vary from 0 to 100%. Okay, again I am repeating. When the brakes are applied, the wheels are locked partially or fully, and if the vehicle moves forward, the longitudinal skidding takes place, which may vary from 0 to 100%. Okay, so skid percentage is 0 to 100%. And while a vehicle negotiates a horizontal curve, if the centrifugal force is greater than the counter-attracting forces, that is lateral friction and component of gravity due to super elevation will come, lateral skidding takes place. Lateral skid is considered dangerous as the vehicle goes out of control, leading to an accident. The maximum lateral skid coefficient is generally equal or slightly higher than the forward skid coefficient in braking test. So lateral skid is normally when the vehicle negotiates a horizontal curve if the centrifugal force is greater than the counter-attracting force. Your centrifugal force matlab the outer force of the which is acting to the vehicle is maximum with corresponding to your counter-attracting force. Counter-attracting force is which is generated due to friction of tire and your pavement surface, as well as the super elevation which is provided on the car. Super elevation at this level, I think you have some idea from your physics in class 12, but super elevation will come. One chapter is totally covered by super elevation. So it is will come later. So next, skid is the thing which is I think clear. Slip. Now slip occurs when a wheel revolves more than the corresponding longitudinal movement along the roads. Okay, slipping is your wheel is rotating, but you are not moving from your place. You are still in your place, but your wheel is moving. That kind of situation is called slip. So slipping usually occurs in the driving wheel of a vehicle when the vehicle rapidly accelerates from stationary position means fixed position, or from slow speed on a pavement surface which is either slippery and wet, or when the road surface is loose with mud. So this also happened this is also happened when the road is slippery, wet or muddy, at the situation when your wheel is rotating with constant speed, but you are not moving from one place to another place. This is called slip. Now the main factor is what are the factors affecting friction or skid resistance. Okay, normally friction is important to us. These are two phenomena under friction, skid and slip. The important is factors which are affecting friction or skid resistance. There are some factors which are normally affected the friction or skid resistance. Again, another thing, I am repeating, the coefficient of friction and skid resistance, both are same thing. Okay, somewhere it is used coefficient of friction, somewhere it may use the skid resistance. So the maximum friction offered by pavement surface or the skid resistance depends upon these factors. Factor number 1, types of pavement surface, namely cement, concrete, bituminous, WBM. WBM is water bound macadam. WBM, earth surface, etc. So types of pavement surface is one of the factor. Types of pavement surface, maybe cement, concrete, maybe bituminous. Okay, maybe WBM, water bound macadam road, maybe earth surface. Number 2, macro texture or the pavement surface or its relative roughness. Texture of the pavement surface. Texture is the surface type. Okay, surface type is called texture. So macro texture of the pavement surface, one of the reason or affecting factor for coefficient of friction or skid resistance. Condition of pavement, namely wet or dry, smoothed or rough, oil spilled, mud or dry sand on pavement. Sand also very harmful during vehicle movement. Sand can change the friction. Sand can change the skid resistance. So not only the pavement condition, not only the types of pavement, not only the texture of the pavement, also the condition of pavement, like your wet or dry, smoothed or rough, oil spilled, mud or dry sand. This also can change the friction or skid resistance of the vehicle and as well as the pavement. Speed of vehicle. Next is speed of vehicle. Fifth is speed of vehicle. Sixth is extent of brake application or brake efficiency. Your coefficient of friction or skid resistance, these things can be affected by speed of vehicle. Important. Brake efficiency. Brake efficiency is application. You are applying brake, but your brake is not locking your wheel. efficiency is very low. At that situation, the friction resistance will be less because you are running condition and you want to stop your vehicle and you are applying brake, but due to low efficiency of brake, your vehicle not stopping at the same time when you are applying brake. After applying brake, sometimes after sometimes your vehicle is stopping. That kind of things can affect the friction resistance, skid resistance or coefficient of friction. Next, load and tire pressure. Then temperature of tire and pavement. Load and tire pressure. That's why if you see in vehicle, there's after buying vehicle, you can see on every vehicle body the company has written the tire pressure should be, your tire pressure should be like that, your tire pressure should be the tire pressure they have mentioned on the body of the car, what should be the tire pressure for your vehicle. So tire pressure one of the important factor this to maintain this coefficient of friction or skid resistance. Type of skid, if any. Type of skid that means your vehicle is skidding or not, it also affect the coefficient of friction or skid resistance. So the type of aggregate used and the mixed design of pavement surface course affect the skid resistance of the pavements, particularly in the case of old or worn out pavements. So pavement, the age of the pavement also important because over the time the condition of the pavement can be worst. Okay, so type of aggregate used in the mixed design of pavement surface course affect the skid resistance. The coefficient of friction reduces considerably when the pavement surface is smooth or wet. The coefficient of friction also decreases slightly with increase in temperature, tire pressure and load. Smooth and worn out tires offer higher friction factors on dry pavement than new tires with treads because of large area of contact. So if your tire is old, worn out tire, suppose worn out tire cases, the friction is high compared to new tire treads. You have seen, you all of you have seen the treads on the tire. Treads are normally given and manufacturing company they are provided tread on the tire for better friction, for better skid resistance. Lots of advertisement also you have seen in TV on this tread. MRF tire, C8 tire, they have provided Bridgestone tire, they have provided better treads on their tires. Why they have advertising these things? Because these all things are related to this coefficient of friction or skid resistance, because we should maintain some coefficient of friction and skid resistance for better performance of vehicle or the maintain the design criteria of road. Okay, the but on the wet pavements, new tires with good treads give higher friction factors than worn out tires. This is because lubricating effects of water on the wet pavement is reduced as water entrapped between the tire and pavement escapes into the treads of the tire. Hence, new tire more dependable than smooth on in adverse surface and other conditions prone to skidding such as wet pavements. The minimum anticipated value of coefficients of friction under worst possible pavement condition is generally taken for design purposes. The friction coefficient decreases with skid speed, which in turn depends on the speed of vehicle and brake efficiency. For calculation of stopping distance, the longitudinal friction coefficient values of 0.35 to 0.4 have been recommended by Indian Road Congress IRC. IRC recommended this value for longitudinal coefficient friction 0.35 to 0.4, and these values have been suggested keeping in view of minimum coefficient of friction in the longitudinal direction on wet pavements and after allowing a suitable factor of safety. These are lots of factors are involved to choosing this 0.35 to 0.4 value? Because there is weight condition of the pavement, there is mud condition of the pavement, there is a new tire, there is old tire, lots of things are considered by IRC when they have fixed this coefficient of friction value for 0.35 to 0.4 for longitudinal coefficient of friction and 0.15 for lateral coefficient of friction. So these values have been suggested keeping in view a minimum coefficient of friction in the longitudinal direction on wet pavements and after allowing the suitable factor of safety. Further, when a longitudinal friction coefficient of 0.40 is allowed for stopping the vehicle, the resultant retardation is 3.93 meter per second square. This is not important to you. Only this value you should keep in your mind for longitudinal coefficient 0.35 to 0.4 and for lateral coefficient of friction is 0.15. In the case of horizontal curve design, the Indian Road Congress has recommended the lateral coefficient of friction 0.15. This low value of traverse skid resistance has been suggested considering the worst possible surface conditions such as mud on pavement surface at horizontal curve with super elevation during the rains, as it is essential to prevent possible lateral skid even under adverse pavement conditions. So very worst, very adverse condition of pavement also we should follow these values, because these values are very suitable, very comfortable values for calculation, and as an engineer we should maintain these values. Next is cross sectional elements. Under cross sectional elements, that is pavement surface characteristics. Under pavement surface characteristics, not the other thing, this is the pavement unevenness. Okay, pavement unevenness one of the factor. Pavement unevenness one of the factor we should mention. Actually, higher operating speed are possible on even pavement surface with less undulation than the uneven and poor surfaces. Higher operating speeds is only possible when your pavement is completely smooth, okay, and less undulations. In poor or uneven surface, you cannot accelerate or you cannot increase your speed of vehicle. Okay, so pavement surface should hence be maintained with minimum possible unevenness so that the desired speed can be maintained in conformity with other geometric standards. So pavement unevenness one of the important things during construction or to maintain for the good speed of the vehicle. Pavement unevenness also affects vehicle operation cost, comfort and safety, fuel consumption, and wear and tear of tires and other moving parts increase with increase in pavement unevenness. So pavement unevenness can increase your vehicle cost, vehicle sustainability of your parts of vehicle, or the fuel consumption. If your pavement is uneven, your fuel consumption will be high. Your durability of the parts of the vehicle will not go so long. So unevenness is the one of the important factor. Pavement unevenness, that's why pavement unevenness also affect the vehicle operation cost. Loose road surface increase the tractive resistance and hence causes increase in fuel consumption. Uneven surface also increase fatigue and accidents. These are some things. The pavement surface condition is commonly measured by using an equipment. This is called bump integrator. Listen, the pavement surface condition is commonly measured by using an equipment called bump integrator. I should write. The pavement surface, I should write here. The pavement surface, you should note, pavement surface pavement surface condition is commonly measured by using an equipment called bump bump integrator. Bump integrator. This is important part. Bump integrator. Okay, the pavement surface condition is commonly measured by using an equipment called bump integrator. In terms of unevenness index, which is the cumulative measures of vertical undulations of the pavement surface recorded per unit horizontal length of the road. For example, unevenness index may be measured in centimeter per kilometer. It has been shown from the test that is desirable to keep the unevenness index low and preferably less than 150 centimeter per kilometer for good pavement surface of high speed highways. In our laboratory also we have this bump integrator. Using this bump integrator, not exactly bump integrator, like bump integrator, we have one equipment through which we can measure the undulations or unevenness of the pavement. Okay. Acha. Normally it has been shown from the test that is desirable to keep the unevenness index low and preferably less than 150 centimeter per kilometer for good pavement surface of high speed vehicles. We should write again 150 centimeter per kilometer for these values are very important for short question, even in GATE exam also. I think you can now apply for GATE this year. Third year can give the GATE. They can attend.
Yes, sir.
The good news for you. So 150 centimeter kilometer for good pavement. This value is important. The good pavement surface. Good pavement surface. Good pavement surfaces of high. Good pavement surfaces of high speed highways. Highways. And a value of 250 centimeter per kilometer is satisfactory up to a speed of about 100 kilometer per hour. Value more than 350 centimeter per kilometer is considered very uncomfortable even at speed of 50 kilometer per hour. 150 centimeter is the actually for good pavement, and there are two values, like one is 250 centimeter per kilometer. This is for 2 centimeter kilometer is satisfactory. Up to a speed of about 100 km/h. Okay. And another value 350 centimeter per kilometer meter is considered very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, is considered very uncomfortable, even at speed of 50 kmph. Okay, these values are very important for 150 centimeter per kilometer for good pavement surface of high speed highways. 250 centimeter per kilometer is satisfactory up to a speed of about 100 km per hour. 350 centimeter per kilometer is considered very uncomfortable even at speed of 50 km per hour. These are the unevenness index, which are the actually the range of the pavement. Okay, these are the values. With reference these values, we can understand the actually unevenness index or unevenness of the pavement surface. Pavement undulation are also sometimes measured using straight edges in terms of extent of number of depression or roots along the across the pavement. An unevenness indicator has been designed and patented by Central Road Research Institute, New Delhi. This equipment is useful to indicate unevenness value from 3 to 20 mm. The unevenness or undulations on pavement surface may be caused by various factors such as number 1, inadequate or improper compaction of the fill, subgrade and pavement layers, unscientific construction practices including the use of boulder stones and bricks as soling course over loose subgrade soil, use of inferior pavement materials, improper surface and subsurface drainage, use of improper construction machinery, poor maintenance practices, localized failures due to combination of causes. So lots of factor also involved for unevenness. Basically, if your subgrade, the first layer of the road is okay, then all the things are okay. If your subgrade is not okay, then your all the things are worst, or the things will become very bad. For in the final stage, you will see the all things are bad. If your subgrade is if your construction of the subgrade is bad, or if your some fault is there in your subgrade construction of subgrade, then at the final stage you will see the totally bad product. You will get a bad product, or some undulations is there after moving the vehicles. Some bad textures can be formed on the surface of the road. So when your subgrade is okay, then all the things are okay. When your drainage condition is good, because for pavement, for our road, moisture is enemy. During rainy season, you can see lots of potholes in the road, in the normal in our locality, or in the town, in the also town, in between the town, you can see lots of potholes in the road during rainy season. Why? This is due to moisture. If our drainage is okay, if we make such a road where the water cannot blocked, or water cannot still for much more time, then our durability of the road will be high, our durability will be increase of the road. Okay, so moisture one of the bad things for road, because our road construction totally is happened on the soil is the one and only base where the every construction actually constructed, every structure have been constructed. So our soil condition is good. If we make some drainage condition, if we construct lots of drain, or along the road we construct the drain, then the durability of the road will increase. Last factor is light reflection characteristics. Okay, uh, actually these are all the things are okay, natural. And after that, night time, the night visibility very much depends upon the light reflecting characteristics of the pavement surface. So pavement has also the right light reflecting characteristics. Okay, the glare caused by the reflection of headlights is considerably high on wet pavement surface than on the dry pavement. Light colored or white pavement surface give good visibility at night, particularly during rains, and the produces glare and eye strain during bright sunlight. So blacktop pavement surface on the other hand provides very poor visibility at night, especially when the surface is wet. So normally our surface, top portion of the surface is black due to bitumen. Okay. Also the disadvantage of bitumen for our at night time in rainy season is dangerous. Somehow this is one of the disadvantages, but we are compensating during our construction, during our movement of vehicle movement. That is blacktop pavement surface on the other hand provides very poor visibility at night, especially when the surface is wet. Okay, this is actually your this portion only. I have covered only this pavement surface characteristics. Acha, wait, just wait. One thing I should tell you.